morning, everybody. To start things in a good tradition, let's have a little stage selfie, and maybe you can help me with excitement. Yes, excellent, thank you. I don't need to set a timer because you have the timer for me, right? Yes, he does. Okay, let's leave that out. My name is Robert Stulle, and Stulle is a short word that means actually nothing except for in this one city where I live. In this city it means sandwich. But that's just what's in the name, right? I'm a partner and co-owner at Edenspiekermann in Berlin, and I'm the head of digital products and services there. So today the topic that I brought to you is how can we create, it's a question, how can we create relevance in a world of constant change? And I think there are three areas that we need to address. One area is the area how we work, how we do what we do, the way we work. The other one, and this came through also in the other talks we had today, is the relationships that we have with our clients. And the third one is the culture that you grow in your company. This is about what I want to talk to you about. But first, let me give you a little bit of a backdrop who we are and what we do. Edenspiekermann is a company that came from graphic design and from visual communication and from corporate design. Now we have evolved very much, and digital product development is actually in the core of what we're doing. This is the team. This is Edenspiekermann. It's about 100 people from 18 different nations. And it's a very diverse crowd with a lot of different backgrounds, and they came from all sorts of backgrounds and work together as one. But we are not in one place only. I come from, whoops, that was one too fast, from this beautiful city of Berlin, where we have the biggest office, and then we have a full-size office also in Amsterdam, and a new office, very small, that we just started in Singapore. We just put a team on the ground in Los Angeles. Yay, LA. And we still have our office in San Francisco. And what we do... I'm clicking too fast. And what we do are three things, to wrap it up and put it very crudely. We develop brands, and we develop products, and we develop services. And these three are interconnected, of course, because the brand, what it really is the promise of a social interaction. It's the idea, it's what you identify with, what you aspire to, what you want to buy, what you buy into as a customer. And the products and the services, this is where this idea is actually delivered. This is where this promise is delivered. So the better the product and the better the service, the better is the delivery of this idea. What holds it together, what connects all of these, are of course the people who use it. And I would even say that you don't really need to separate between the product and the brand and the service and the brand. They're actually like one. The product is the brand and the service is the brand, almost inseparable. So you could do this nice equation. Brand plus people is business. No brand, no business. Very little people, very little business. Weak brand, weak business. I like it, it's very simple. And when I say business, I don't mean money. It's not, you know, at Edenspiekermann, our idea is not to generate, to maximize a profit. What we see as business is when something grows and something evolves, when something is happening. This is when we are in business. If your idea comes to fruition, when you made a project and it's successful, then I would say, then you are in business. And to look again on this interplay between brand, product, and service, it's like a forest. The forest is the brand, and you say, I go into the forest, I go to interact with this brand. And what you see in the forest is all of these different trees. And the trees are the products in the forest. And then there's nice light shining in, and the birds are chirping, and there's a gentle breeze of air, just the scent of the forest. These are the services. And it comes together as one experience. Can you live with this image? Let's say we go into the forest of Netflix. We go into the forest of Netflix, and what do we see? We see the different products. These are the different trees, like all of the different devices have different products. And the wind that goes through this forest are, of course, the shows that we watch, and it's the service and how we pay for it and how that comes together. Okay, but back to our office. This is how it looks like in our studio in Berlin, and this is what the average workplace looks like. I mean, this is like all your workplaces probably look like. What changed a lot in the last 5 or 10 years is the focus and technology. So a lot of our colleagues now look at screens like this, maybe not as cluttered as this, but they do code, and they work in code. That means that the act of developing is also an act of design. And you've emphasized this before, and I can only repeat it. All of the elements that come together in a product team are actually creative and design elements. So delivering code is also an act of design. These are the tools that we employ. And we use the walls. There's a nice paint, the paint that is both magnetic, and it also allows you to write on the wall with chalk. That proves to be a very hands-on, very useful tool. And also just straight up writing on the wall, like you suggested. It's a very good practice, and it's all around the office. Paper, we need a lot of Post-its. I mean, Post-its have, the world is fueled by Post-it, it seems. So to look at these teams, we work in multidisciplinary teams that could look like this team. There you see a designer, and you see a developer, and you see a hybrid guy, someone who is a good designer but also a good developer. And they work together on a project. And we pair this technology savviness with just experience and the knowledge about methods. And bringing these together, I think, is a good step in creating relevance. Then we made very good experiences with sitting together on a couch. The image is a bit dark, but you see we have some couches out there, and people sit together and they talk. And this is actually the most successful tool that we found for professional interaction. Like every week there is a half an hour or a 1 hour meeting, and there is no hierarchy in this meeting. It just happens, and the people join if they want to. And there's a design couch, there is a dev couch where the developers meet, and you can start all other sort of couches. And if someone says here's a couch, then people come or they come not. And this is how professional knowledge exchange is institutionalized. So let's go back one. There are some things that we do not do at Edenspiekermann. For example, we don't do advertising. We also don't do creative pitches. We also never work for free. There's just things that we used to do, and we don't do them anymore. And another thing that we left behind is the good old waterfall process, the waterfall model that you all know. It's super frustrating. There is a concept in the beginning, and then there's a design phase. There might be a longish technology implementation, and just in the end comes the content, just like from the big content bucket filled into your vessel, and of course it breaks all the way in between. This process is flawed. We all know that. And even if it was a perfect waterfall process, then the thing that came out here at the end of the blue line could never be bigger than what the first person in the beginning could have thought of, because you only go one way. So we don't do that anymore. We work with agile methods where we combine design, content, and technology at the same time and work on it iteratively in multidisciplinary teams. And if you add research to the mix, research, design, content, and technology all in one process and at the same time and continuously and iteratively, then you create relevance. Because this is what we strive for, creating relevance. So what comes out at the end of our processes? To give you an idea, we do a lot of websites. This is a website for Red Bull that we did, a website for Font Shop, an e-commerce site, some product development, more Red Bull websites. We do apps for mobile devices and for smart TVs and set-top boxes. And we do brand development, of course. Lean brand development for startups, for example, or good old-fashioned big fat brand development for good old-fashioned big fat global players. We have developed also a focus into media, where we work a lot in the field that we now call digital editorial. Here you see a launch for a renowned brand in the German newspaper landscape. And we do more and more design research, because this is also something very interesting that we can deliver to our clients insights into their world or into their customers' world, really. We do workshops and trainings. And we do and we employ the method of design thinking and co-creation. Actually, this session here, this co-creation session, was part of a project that our colleagues in Amsterdam did, and I want to show it to you quickly. This service design project started with the simple question, how can we organize people on the platform in the railway station? Because the Netherlands are a land of commuters. There's an enormous amount of people, and they all need to go quickly from their work to home and from home to work. So at rush hour time in the railway station, there's enormous amounts of people, and they all walk in big uncoordinated movements, and they try to find their way around. And this leads to anger and frustration and depression and to dangerous situation, and also it leads to delays, train delays, so it costs the organization dearly. The idea that at the end of a big fat process, what came out was this solution that you see here on the top, and here you can see it a bit better. It's just a giant screen, an LED screen as long as the train is, and this screen shows before the train arrives in real size where you can step into the train. Where's the first class, where's the second class, where you can go in with your wheelchair, where you can go in with your bicycle. And it also shows the parts that are already pretty full with people, yellow, and the parts that are still green. So this enables people to organize themselves on the platform. It's super intuitive. You don't have to explain it. It's just there and people get it. And we got a nice range of prizes for this project. And we got to meet the royal couple, King and Queen of the Netherlands. Look at that. This is the Queen of the Netherlands, Her Majesty, Queen Maxima. And this is me. What a moment. This is why you do it. This is, it's not the money. We will never get rich, but rich in experience, right? So what we do at Edenspiekermann, what has changed also profoundly over the past 5 or 6 years is our attitude and our mindset. You know, as a design company, normally, does this mic work fine? Okay, as a design company, normally in the old days you would start with your client comes in, he gives you a briefing and you say, yeah, okay, let's see, we'll be back in 3 months and you will have your product. And we do it completely different. We start every project with a one-day workshop, usually in this room. We call it the tower because it's on top of the building, a nice big room. And there we sit together, we put some fruit on the table, vitamins, and then we talk with our clients for a whole day. And we don't talk about design, we don't talk about technology, we don't talk about color preferences or image style. We talk about the content, the meaning, and the purpose of the project. We ask the client, why do you have this project? Why do you want to do it? What problem does it solve? Are you sure that this problem is the problem you really have? How would you measure success? Is this really something that your company needs right now? Maybe you came to us with these questions, but there's something completely different behind it. Let's find out. And these days, where we ask a lot of our clients, we're very demanding there, are super valuable to start a project with. We do it with the whole team, not only the whole team of the client, as many people from the client, but also our whole team. So sometimes there's 15 people for a whole day, and you would say, wow, what a waste of energy. But it's actually super, what's the word I'm looking for? Effective. It's a very good way to start. And then our secret trick is to get a person as high up as in the ranks of the client if it is possible, the CEO, that's perfect. And then you see them interact. Then your client himself, he interacts, the group of client people. The CEO hears his technical guy talk about it, or the editor, or some other team members, and they have usually never talked about the project with each other. But now you hear them, and they get feedback from us, and they see each other, they hear what their CEO is saying. That's super valuable. Then we employ user-centric approaches, of course, where we work with personas and we map the user needs and the features that we want to create. So this is the user need, this is the feature that we want to implement, and this is the value that we generate with it. This is why we do it. And that works well with the most startup clients, but also with the more corporate clients, like here you see some people from a bank. And then we made great experiences with incorporating our client very closely with us. So this is Ivo Gabrovic. He is the global head of marketing at FontShop, and he was sitting on that couch in our office for weeks. He was just there with the team, very close. He preferred being there than being in his own office because of the coffee and because he was so close to the team. And that's another client of ours. When I first met him, I said, yeah, it's very important that you come and you be present because you're in Berlin. Let's take advantage of it. And now he's just every day he's in. He will not leave. Also, he's from Russia. My colleague is from Finland. They talk Russian now in this corner. God knows what they are talking about. And here you see a joint team that's also interesting, something that we saw developing, that our clients have some people join our team. So out of these 6 people, 3 are our people and 3 are the clients' people. But they work together as a team in our rooms for weeks or for months. Okay, let's go back to those 3 areas that I talked about in the beginning. Improve the way you work. Get agile. It has proven to be a completely game changer for our company to work with agile methods. And I'll do a super short glimpse why agile is something of importance, because everything changes so fast in our world and all the formal rules do not apply anymore. The world is not top-down anymore and everything is connected now. Look, first mobile device in the olden days, I had it, I loved it. The Walkman, totally analog. Then you see what's coming, of course, the mobile revolution started with telephony. Who would have thought? Phones. Okay, then there was this thing. It had a long lifespan, by the way. Look, 5 years still running around very strongly. Then 2007, there was some market saturation with smartphones or approaching. And this was a smartphone in 2007. You remember the days, right? And that's only 8 years ago. Then what happened? iPhone happened. After that, everything looks like this. Now we're pretty much here. And this is what happens if a company lags behind. This is a product that Nokia launched in the year of? No, 7, no? 10, they would be really in trouble. It was 10, but it was astonishingly, you're pretty good. It was 2009. But 2009, the iPhone was already in its 3rd generation. You know, these 2 products, one vastly superior, coexisting in the same market, that's a big problem. And this is when a big company cannot keep up with the speed of change. Now we're here. And all of these curves that look at the development or that predict development point up like that. We're pretty much here now. It's not a slow change, but it's a exponential or almost exponential change. It's dizzying. Dizzying is the word, right? You get dizzy from the change because it's so fast. And also the world is not top-down anymore. I think you know that. Who is the most popular channel on YouTube? PewDiePie. PewDiePie! Swedish! And this is how he looks. This is PewDiePie from Sweden. He's 25 years old. And he has 39 million subscribers on YouTube. And I would not know if I did not have teenage kids. And I bet a lot of you did not know that. So who has the most followers on YouTube? It's not a big company. It's not a big name. It's not something that is orchestrated on a corporate level. It's a single person from the living room. And this is number 2. Do you know this guy? From Chile. I had no idea. He's number 2, even before YouTube itself. The first recognizable person that I can see on this list is Reena, somewhere on place 5 with 17 million. And YouTube themselves have 23 million. That's less than 2/3 of what PewDiePie has. So how we reach audiences is not orchestrated by big corporations anymore. It's not top-down. It can come from everywhere. Or look at this car. You know what this car is, right? Tesla. More? Yeah, Tesla Model S, very savvy audience, thank you. And this is the best-selling car in Norway in 2014. And why? Because there's a lot of there's money that people get if they buy electric cars. And this is how a company that's very young, Tesla was only founded in 2002, I think in 2003, can dominate a whole country in the automotive market. Where are all the big players? This is what changed. This might be the future of journalism, and it's these guys in the Netherlands who orchestrate it. And you know, we can struggle, and our clients can struggle and say, well, it's unfair, and why, no, I don't get it. But this is how it is, and this is our new normal. And at Edenspiekermann, we work agile to create relevance in a very fast changing world. Or as Goethe said, we must always change, renew, rejuvenate ourselves, otherwise we harden. So let's take a quick look at the beautiful waterfall, which is actually super liquid, right? It's not hard, it's super liquid, but it has a big backdraw. This only goes one way. You cannot go back. You cannot learn from what has happened on the way. You have to stick with what has come down when it hits the ground. And it represents, crystallizes in the real world as this beautiful Gantt chart. And of course, you all have worked with these things. But the moment that this Gantt chart is put together by the poor soul whose life energy was sucked out by the software to create this, it's obsolete. It will never, you know that this will never happen. It will be here or there. It's just, planning is guessing. It's just a guess. And in an agile workflow, we can actually learn from what we did because we iterate and we learn from it. Also, we approach the minimal viable product approach, where we try to deliver something valuable at every step of the process. So you don't start with something that is unusable, but you start with the core that already carries the most relevant elements. And best is to not only use the basics, but to have a nice vertical slice that also includes some magic. And you know, basic workflow in Agile is that you move tasks along a board like this. But the beauty is that these tasks are not random, but these tasks are prioritized by business value. And this is what makes it beautiful. Here you see a team at work with the tasks on a physical board. And to remind you of the roles in Scrum, for example, as an agile process, we have the product owner. And if this is your client, that's very helpful. We have the Scrum Master who organizes the team but does not dictate the content, just he facilitates how you work. And you have the team. And the team is self-organized. That means there is no project manager who says, you next week you do that and you have this task to do and you should go over there and do this. But the team organizes itself. And therefore, you need to have a different mindset. You have to have an agile mindset in your company to allow this. You have to challenge not only yourself in your company, but you also have to challenge your client and constantly ask them, are you sure that this is the way you want to go? Is this progress what you need? How can we help you get in your own organization, get some buy-in for your project? So this is where the magic happens, and this is your comfort zone. This is my favorite Venn diagram because the two don't overlap. And I firmly believe stepping out of your comfort zone with your organization, also individual, is where you can go to a level where the real magic happens. This is not the best, this is not the greatest Venn diagram in the world, because this is the greatest Venn diagram in the world, but it's the second greatest Venn diagram in the world. So if you want to go agile, commit to it. There is no halfway, you really have to do it. And if maybe your client is like Luke and he says, all right, this agile, I'll give it a try, then you be like Yoda and you say, no, try not. Do or do not. There is no try. Then you have to work on your relationship, because we are more than just a supplier, right? We want to be partners on eye level. But we cannot just sit there and say, why don't you treat me as a partner on eye level? You really have to go there and challenge them and say, hey, we want to work with you on eye level, and this is why, and you better accept this role, not being naughty or pushy, but by being challenging and by being interested. So client relationships are like all the other relationships that we have in life. they need a lot of work. And I can only ask you to respect your client just like you respect yourself. You know, this idea of, the stupid client, he did not get it, it's a wrong attitude, because the client is not stupid. He just lives in a different world. Everybody creates his own image of the reality, and he acts accordingly. So try to get to understand what drives your client. And then invite them into your rooms. Don't put up a facade, but really have them sit with you. One of these 4 people is our client. You will never know who. Or these clients sit together in our kitchen, and it doesn't need to be a neat environment where you say, this is our representative room, and here's where the client sits, and back here is the workshop. But we work together and get together in one space where we can be as equals, and where we can be on eye level. This is one of the projects that you just saw the client of. Then, if you want to get your client to understand the customers, his own customers, it's really good to question the early assumptions about the target groups that he might put on the table. Like, we have had this in a project where he said, we are doing this for other companies, and it's a B2B product. But other companies do not exist, of course. Other companies are always people. There's always someone, and if you find out what the desires or the needs or the motivations of this group is, and you can make that understandable to your client, then you have a win. Or developers could look like this. Or music lovers. There was a guy who did a project with us. He said, my product is for music lovers. That would be the whole world, right? But then we did a bit of research, and we knew, no, your product really is for girls at the age of 14 to 16. I mean, maybe you have other aspirations, but this is the reality of your product. And making your client understand what their customers' needs are, what customers' motivations might be, and how you can connect all the decisions that you take in design or technology into actual user needs, that is what creates relevance. Because products do not fail because they are technically broken. I would say they fail because nobody needs them. Now let me fast forward a little bit, because we're running out of time. Team up with your client to be in service of content, the hero. And just because it's so nice, one more time, maybe the last time, I want to bring to you the Batman metaphor. Who has played the game? Okay. Who has watched one of the movies? Yes, Batman. Okay, let's say the content is our hero, and the hero is Batman. Then you work with your client and you explain to him, what we need to do is bring the content to the place where it needs to be active. We need to bring the hero to the place where he needs to work. We need to bring Batman to the location of crime. So if this is your task together with your client, what do you create? The Batmobile. This is what you do then. You create the Batmobile, and this is what you build together with your client. And you will see the Batmobile shares all of the attributes that Batman actually has, just as awesome, powerful, and over the top as the hero itself. And by the way, all of the Batmobiles during the long history of Batman have been pretty kick-ass. And also in Sweden, it was called Lederlappen. Lederlappen. So not only you focus on your user needs, but you also look at your client's needs, and then not to forget your own needs. What are your own needs? And if these come together, if you make something that hits here, then you're spot on. And if you don't hit the spot, you might ask yourself, why did you do it? And then you should stop your engagement if you think you're creating something meaningless. I really mean it. You can just tell your client, okay, let's end this. It's not good for you. You're wasting your money. It's not good for us. We're wasting our energy. It has been good to meet you. Have a good life. And that actually can be super liberating. And we've done it once or twice. And the power of saying no is immense. So, to wrap it up, I want you to concentrate on value, on what you are doing. And don't be so obsessed with the tools or the methods. They're important and fun, but they're not this crucial. Nobody really cares about the power drill. What people really want is the hole in the wall. So look at the result that you can achieve. And then you should just check in with reality and trust your gut. In the end, it's important to cut the crap, because nobody needs a facade. Nobody needs a make-believe or pretend thing. But try to get real. Try to get real in your work, and try to emphasize on partnership, have realistic expectations, get real about people, get real about deadlines, get real about money, have an atmosphere of openness and transparency, have some honesty in what you do, and implement trust. And I think trust is a word that we heard a lot, and I would say trust is a crucial word if you want to create relevance. The only word that is maybe more important than trust is fun. And you should have fun while you're working, because if you're having fun while you're working, you know that you're doing something right. Thank you.